welcome to the channel, and today we are going to work on a tutorial on property list. So this is another way of persisting data on Apple OS platform. You can use it in iOS, Mac OS. So in today's tutorial, what I'm going to tell you, show you is we'll see how to create a property list and internally how it is presented. Then we'll see in the code how we can fetch the property list, get the data from the property list and use the data. So this is the starter project which I'll upload on the GitHub. You can go and download that and start working on it. So what I have done, so I'll take you to main storyboard. I have an image view. I have done nothing, just added a constraint so that it will stay here. And I have an outlet for image view in my view controller, which is the image view. Another part I wanted to show you is image assets. So you could see here image, I think image you are familiar with how we can add, and the color, but I will show you how you can add. You can click on this plus sign and you can say new color set, new image set, and then you can drag the respective images and the color set. Say like I wanted to create a new color set, and I'll say color 01 and I'll make it 2. Okay, and you can go here and play and make some color. So this is how you will have a color set, and then again the images, you go and add an image set and then add the respective image with simple drag and drop. So this is what I have the starter project. So the very first thing what we wanted to do is, let's go here and say new file. Okay, here what we will do is property list. You search for property list, click on it and say what your property list is, settings. Okay, so we can keep the naming conventions like naming a file, settings. So here what it does, so I just wanted to show you how it is presented. This is property list and this is source code. So right now what we are seeing is the property list and the other one is source code. When I click on source code, it shows the name, and see here, this is the XML representation. So we'll go back and I'll show you how we can add stuff into it. So this is the root, it's a dictionary. You click on it and you can add a property inside it. So say like I'll say image, okay, and string, and I'll say my image name is icon, and from where I get the icon is, if I go to assets file, I have icon. Okay, and say I wanted to add one more, which is say like color. Okay, and here what I will do, color I will take it as a number and I'll say number will start with 0. Okay, so let's see how this is shown when I see it in the source code. We'll have a key and a value, key and a value question. So I'll go to the view controller. Okay, so I'll go to the view controller, and here what we will do is, there are multiple tasks we have to perform. So now we could see the setting file resides here somewhere, correct? So setting file is here. What I wanted to do is, I wanted to get the path of the file. We will find the URL of the plist file. Second step, what we wanted to do is, we will create a data from the content of URL. So let's create a struct which is called settings, and this will conform to codable, and I'll explain it why codable we are using. So what we are doing here is, I could say I have two properties called image URL, okay, which is of type string, and var color, which is of type int. And what decides what is the type of this? We'll go here, we'll refer our settings playlist, and we'll see we have a color which is a number, and we have image, which is a string. That's the name of the image. So now, since what we have done here is, so let me first directly make you jump. This is option, click, you get this summary of what exactly it is. It is a type that can convert itself into and out of external representation. So how the representation we have, we actually wanted a similar set of representation when we are interacting with that object. So like in settings, I have image and color. I wanted a similar representation. So say like here I could say image and color. I'll show you later, like if the properties are different, how we can do that. Okay, so this is our struct. Let's start. Let's create a function which will say get settings. Okay, so this is the method which we will call, and it will give us all the settings. So settings will conform to settings. So this struct, it will conform to this struct. Let's name it correctly, settings. Okay, now what we need to do, let's try the first step, find the URL of the plist. So first of all, what we have to do, let's say we have a decoder. Okay, what type of decoder we want? Property, property list decoder. Okay, we want to decode our property list. The second thing, here let's try to find the URL from the plist. So how we find the URL? We'll say let URL is equal to, this is from the bundle. Which bundle? This resides in the main bundle, main. Okay, and then we'll say URL, where it is printing, main URL here for resource with extension. Okay, so resource, what we have is settings. So let's name it settings. Perfect. And settings has an extension called plist. So let's give that. Okay, so what we did, we have got the URL. Now let's get data out of it. Now you could see here we are getting a warning which says we are not making use of it. Okay, initialization of immutable URL was never used. Okay, so we try to get the URL, and there can be chances that URL is not there. So since we know it is there, we'll just try to say like I'm sure it is there, but this is not a good practice. We can avoid this and we can say if let the URL is there. Okay, so now what I will do is if let data, I'll try to create data. Data is can be, we can get through this method, which is data content of URL. Let me search. Yes, but it throws. Okay, so if a method is throwing, we will try to get it in a try block and we'll give the URL. Okay, and now what I did, I get the URL from the plist, create data from the content of URL. We have the data. If the data is there, decode the data and get the settings. So let's try to get the settings. How we will do? If let settings is equal to, what we need to do, we have a decoder and we will try to decode. And what we wanted to use, decode from data. It's again this method throws. So what we need to do is it has to be covered in a try block. So let's use this. Let's make sure you have try question mark decode. So what we do is here it says decodable.protocol. So we wanted to pass a type. What type we have is settings.self. and from what is the data we have here. Okay, so what we need to do here is we will return our settings. Perfect. But this method does require a setting, so what we will say, there are chances we don't have settings and it might return nil. So I'll go and I'll say return nil. Perfect. So what we have here, what we are doing here is, these are the steps which we are trying to do here. Perfect. Here. So now in my viewDidLoad method, okay, so let's say here I'll try to fetch the settings. If my settings equal to self dot get settings, okay, so why I did if, I have to do if let, why I need to bind this data, because I'm not sure if this would return the value. So there can be settings or there might not be settings, because this is of type optional. Okay, so this is how we will cover that. And now I'll say let my color, so color name, let's try to get color name will be this is for integer, and then I will say the settings which I have received, type color. Okay, this is the color name. So I will say view dot background color equal to I'll create a UI color. There is yes, it takes the name and I'll pass color name. Perfect. And now what we need to do is we need to set the image view dot image. Let's create UI named. What is the image name? We'll say setting dot image. Okay, so let's revise what we did. We try to get the settings from here, and the setting has a property called image and color. We just take that image and color and set it to our UI. Let's see how it works, and we'll say like 11 Pro. Let me quickly run this. So here we have the property list sample. So here you go. So let me see the color type what I have here. If I go in the settings, I have a color 0 which I can check in the image asset. I have a color 0. Let me give color 1. Okay, and we'll see settings dot color. I'll go to my info.plist. I'll say don't pick 0, pick 1. I'll save it and I'll run it. So here you could see. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to save some settings. So there could be some cases where you wanted to write some data into the plist, and even a user kills the application, still your values are persisting. So there can be some use cases when you need the values. So this is when the property list will be more plist will be more useful. So let's solve this part. So I told you we should not do force unwrapping. So how we can cover it? If plist, and we'll say like this, and now we'll say if data exists. Okay, so this way it is safe. You can refactor this and make it more readable, but this is it. So now what I did is I made sure even if the URL is not there, my application should not crash, because it is an optional thing. So it will never enter this block of code. Okay, the second part I wanted to show you is, assume if my key doesn't match. We'll see image URL. So see, my name of that is image URL. I'll make the changes here as well. Okay, that's it. So perfect, this has to be L. Okay, now what happens is, let me quickly run this. Okay, so what has happened is my data is not passed because the key color and image doesn't match here. So see here, if I go back and if this is the use case where like the keys are formatted in a different way, but your struct has to be conforming to a protocol codable, but the names are different, then what you need to do is, I will show. So let me create a private enum and I'll say my coding keys. Okay, so it is of type string and coding keys. So what I will say do is, now if the case is image URL, okay, the default value is image. Okay, and another case is color. In this case we don't want to give because this matches with the one which is existing there. So let me just build it and see what bad it has to be a coding key. So now what it will say, internally, externally you are making use of image URL, but internally the name has to be image. So this will try to match the object as it is, how it is coming. So here you see color and image. Internally will say here it is image URL and color, but image URL is image. So this way also we could make use of it. And I showed you previously we were not able to fetch the information. Now it is working as expected. So guys, this is it for today. I hope this would be useful for you some or the other way. Please let me know in the comments if you find it useful or if you have request for something. So I would be creating a tutorial on that. Thank you very much and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.